She didn't see him at first. The floor cleaner buzzed low near the back of the aisle, and Owen Grayson, wearing a faded, everyday save jacket and pushing the bulky machine like a weary part-timer, was careful not to make a sound as he moved past the freezer section. That's when he heard it. A soft, stifled sob. One of those cries where someone's trying not to cry, but failing. He turned his head. A young cashier, crouched behind the end of her lane, was hiding her face in her hands. Her apron was still on, headset slung around her neck, like she had just stepped off the register and couldn't even make it to the break room. She pulled out her phone. Her voice trembled. "I'm trying, okay? I am. But I can't miss another shift or they'll cut my hours again. I haven't paid the electric bill, and now they're threatening eviction. What am I supposed to do?" Pause. No, I didn't tell them. What's the point? HR says flexibility is key, but if I'm not available 24/7, I'm out. You know what this place is like. You're either invisible or gone. Another pause. Her next words hit him like a punch to the chest. "I lost Mom. I lost the house. I'm losing me. I don't even know why I keep going." She sniffled. I just want one person to see me. Just once. Even if it's the guy who wrote these damn policies." She let out a sad laugh. "But people like him don't come here. Not really." Owen's hand tightened around the machine handle. She didn't know who he was, but she was talking about him. If you've ever stayed silent at work because you feared speaking up might cost you everything, this story is for you. The girl behind the register was named Alyssa, and she had no idea her life was about to change. Because the man pretending to clean the floor, he was the one who'd built the system that was slowly destroying her. It hadn't always been this way. Owen Grayson had started Everyday Save in a rusted warehouse in Dayton, Ohio, with only one store and a dozen metal carts. Back then, he knew every employee by name. He worked the register himself on Sundays and unloaded deliveries at 5 a.m. on Mondays. But growth has a price. By the time the company had 300 stores, HR was run by consultants. Policies came in thick binders, and efficiency metrics replaced face-to-face management. One of those policies, ironically named Flexible Hours for a Stronger Workforce, had been sold to him in a board meeting as a win-win. It allows team leads to schedule smarter, the consultant had pitched, and it rewards availability with job stability. You'll reduce unplanned absences and increase retention. It sounded good. Fair, mathematical. What no one said out loud was this. If a worker had to take time off, especially things like sick kids, second jobs, or family emergencies, they'd quickly get labeled as low availability. And that meant fewer hours, less income, no security. Owen had signed it. He barely remembered the meeting. But now he was watching that policy crush someone in real time.
The next morning, he showed up again. Same disguise. Cheap khakis, gray hoodie, and a name tag that read Tim. The store manager didn't question his presence. Corporate often sent floaters to help during peak seasons. He swept, wiped, restocked paper towels in the restroom. But all the while, his eyes were on Alyssa. She arrived 10 minutes early. Her smile was tight. Her uniform, clean but faded, you could tell she washed it by hand. She greeted customers with a calm, practiced tone. No complaints, no hesitations. But between transactions, Owen noticed her standing just a second longer than necessary, eyes lingering on the exit door. She was checking for something, or someone. At one point during her short break, she sat in the cramped break room eating a cup of instant noodles with a plastic fork. Her phone vibrated once. She read the message, stared at it, then put the phone face down. Owen took out the trash just to get a glance at it when she left. The screen still lit up. Reminder, rent due 3 days late. Final warning. That night, Owen didn't sleep. He went back to his hotel, opened his laptop, and pulled up the latest data reports. Alyssa Thompson, Cashier Level 1, Store 242, Lincoln, Illinois. Her performance review was flawless. According to her file, she was almost always on time, nearly perfect attendance. Customers described her as polite, quick, and professional. She had only 2 unexcused absences, and one of them was still waiting on documentation. But the most painful part? Her weekly hours kept dropping, first from 28, then to 24, then 16, and now she only works 8 hours a week. He stared at the downward slide. It had begun 6 weeks ago. That's when she'd used her 2 grace days to take care of her mother in hospice care. The system had flagged her. After that, her shifts dropped by half. No human had ever reviewed it. It was automatic. By lunch the next day, Owen had heard enough from the other staff. A teenage stalker whispered that Alyssa used to work way more hours, but then she got hit with the flex rule. Another part-timer, an older woman named Marcia, lowered her voice and said, "They never fire you here. They just strangle your hours until you quit." That afternoon, Owen finally approached Alyssa. He kept the act. "Hey, you were super nice to that older lady earlier. You always that patient?" Alyssa gave a half smile. "Comes with the job. You ever think of doing something else?" That question hung in the air. She looked at him, not unkindly. "I used to, but right now it's not about what I want. It's about survival." He nodded, quiet. Then she added something that stuck with him the rest of the day. "I don't need a dream job. I just need a job that doesn't make me feel like disappearing." That night, Owen wrote his resignation speech, not from the company, but from the system he'd built around it. And the next day, he came back, not as Tim the temp, but as Owen Grayson, CEO. And this time, he wasn't here to clean the floors. He was here to clean the mess he'd allowed to happen. The staff froze when he walked in. Gone was the hoodie and name tag. Owen Grayson now wore a charcoal suit, open collar, no tie. The district manager stood beside him, already sweating. The store manager, a stocky man named Reuben, stammered as Owen calmly asked the team to gather near aisle 3. Some of them stared, a few whispered, but Alyssa didn't react. She just stood by the checkout lane, silent, unsure if she should stay or leave, until Owen looked at her and said gently, "You, please stay." She did. He cleared his throat and addressed them all. "My name is Owen Grayson. I founded Everyday Save 21 years ago with a folding table and borrowed money. I've swept the floors of our first store. I've unpacked pallets at 2 a.m. I know what it means to work hard." He paused. "And I thought, when we grew, that we could keep that spirit alive. I thought our policies, our systems, our numbers could protect fairness. But I was wrong." Silence. He pulled out a folder and held it up. "This is Alyssa Thompson's employment record. I reviewed it last night. You know what I found?" No one answered. He opened it. A perfect attendance record. Until her mother died. A spotless customer rating. No disciplinary actions. But when she missed 2 shifts, our system labeled her unreliable. And just like that, her hours vanished. Alyssa's lips parted. She hadn't expected this. Not one human manager reviewed it. No one asked her why. No one cared. He turned slightly to face her. "And then I overheard you. That night." Her eyes widened. "You said something I'll never forget. That you weren't even sure you wanted to keep going. That the system we built made you feel invisible." Her chin trembled, but she stood tall. "I didn't know anyone was listening," she whispered. He nodded. "I know. That's the problem. No one was." A long pause.
Then Owen turned to the others. This isn't just about Alyssa. It's about every single one of you. The moms with second jobs, the students working night shifts, the caretakers, the dreamers. We built a machine that treats people like numbers. He raised the folder again, then dropped it on the floor. It ends today. Gasps. A few quiet exhales. A cart bumped against a shelf as someone shifted their weight, stunned. Owen continued. Effective immediately, the flexible hours policy is suspended. Managers will personally review any changes in scheduling. Human eyes, human hearts. Then, softer, if someone's hurting, we see them. We help them. That's not charity, that's decency. The district manager tried to interject. Mr. Grayson, with all due respect. No, Owen cut in. You had your chance. You ran the numbers. I'll run the store. He looked around the team again. There will be no retaliation, no warnings, no polite punishments disguised as policy. If you speak up, you won't disappear. You'll be heard. Then he turned back to Alyssa. I'm sorry. She blinked, unsure how to respond. I never wanted to be the kind of leader who has to apologize in a fluorescent-lit grocery store. But I am, because I didn't come down here until someone broke in the dark. And you did. Tears welled in her eyes, but this time she didn't hide them. And one more thing, he said. He reached into his briefcase and pulled out a small laminated sign. It read, "This is a human workplace." If you're tired, you can sit. If you're struggling, you can speak. You will not be punished for being human. He handed it to Alyssa. Put this where people can see it. She nodded, her hands trembling as she accepted it. It wasn't a raise, it wasn't justice in full, but it was a beginning. That night, the store stayed open, but the atmosphere had shifted. Alyssa's coworkers rallied around her. One brought her tea, another helped finish her inventory. Even Ruben, the store manager, offered her a formal apology for not asking sooner. And Owen? He stayed. He didn't vanish into a waiting car. He didn't call his lawyer or schedule a PR announcement. He cleaned a spill in aisle 5. He talked to the night crew. He sat in the break room with Marcia, the older part-timer who told him how her son had to move home after a factory layoff. He asked her questions. He listened. At the end of the week, Owen issued a company-wide memo. Subject: I was wrong, to every Everyday Save employee. Last week, I went undercover at store 242. What I saw changed me. I watched a cashier fight to survive while smiling through her tears. I watched policies I sign punish people for being human. And I realized efficiency without compassion isn't fairness, it's failure. From now on, we're changing that. We will bring back humanity to every store. Managers will be retrained. HR will be rebuilt. And every voice, especially the quiet ones, will have a path to be heard. I can't fix everything overnight, but I promise you this. I'll never ignore pain just because it doesn't show up in a spreadsheet, because people don't live in Excel. They live here, with rent, kids, grief, and strength you don't always see. Sincerely, Owen Grayson. 3 months later, Alyssa still worked at store 242. Only now she led a new team called Voices First, a rotating council of frontline employees who reviewed all major HR changes before they were implemented. Every Monday they met in the break room, and above the bulletin board, in every Everyday Save across the country, that same sign appeared. You will not be punished for being human. And people noticed. Customers stayed longer, employees smiled more. For real. Turnover dropped. But more importantly, dignity returned. And Owen? He stopped thinking like a CEO. he started leading like a person again. If you've ever felt invisible at work, if you've ever swallowed your pain because speaking up meant losing everything, this story is yours too. And if it moved you, don't scroll past it. Share it, because someone else might be standing at a register tonight, smiling through tears, just waiting to be seen.